Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA. Today, a Sports Ethos presentation brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. My name is Aaron Bruski, and with me is the great Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. Today, we're going to get you guys caught up after the short slate on Thursday and then get you guys ready for a big 9-game Friday night. As usual, we will start with our commentary about our guys. We have top 6 must-add players from last night. We'll enter the drop zone, do some drop talk, and then we'll get into tonight's slate with our top 2 streamers, but I believe we each have 5, and I believe we each have 4 must-add players, and I believe I might get shot by my producer by the end of the show, but we don't know if that's going to happen or not. And then we will wrap up with a segment that is going to combine some holder drop and adder pass. News-wise, Domantas Sabonis, a partially torn meniscus in his left knee. It's going to be reevaluated in 3 to 4 weeks. We'll cover that here in a bit, but let me get through the rest of the news. We have LaMelo Ball and the Hornets are fighting. I don't know, but apparently LaMelo Ball has reportedly grown frustrated with the organization, and he's open to a trade per Kelly Eco. And then he responded to that tweet with a clown emoji, signifying where we are at as a society in 2025. Darius Garland expected to return to action today per Shams. Doc, how did all that news sit with you? How are you doing over there, sir?
I am okay. I'm doing okay. Yeah, the LaMelo stuff. I mean, if he's sick of the Hornets, how sick are the Hornets of LaMelo Ball? Like, I don't see this ending well. He wants to be traded, trade him. You know, he's a part-time player. The Hornets have always just been bad. And send him somewhere he wants to go. I mean, I don't know, man. If I was the owner of Charlotte, I would be so over LaMelo Ball at this point. And then I guess we have a lot of Kings talk to have to figure out who's going to replace Sabonis.
Can I suggest a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion? They should trade his ass to the Sacramento Kings. Isn't that the funniest outcome? Like, that could work, right? Like, they're dumb enough to do it. The Melo has no trade market, right? Like, is somebody going to back up the Brinks trunk for LaMelo Ball?
He's got a big Instagram following, Brew. Kids love LaMelo.
They do. Oh, maybe they're mad at me for saying what I just said about LaMelo. That could be bad. Look, I think this is pretty interesting from like a Con Knipple standpoint. The idea that if LaMelo is frustrated, he doesn't want to play, and his ankle hurts, and he stays out. I mean, the remaining 3 players, as we talked about at yesterday's show, just could go bonkers. How do you deal with this, though? They're just like LaMelo only, like, jokes aside, like, what should you take a shot in the dark and like toss a top 75 player to that GM and say, hey, maybe would that work for you?
I mean, dude's shooting like 37%. I think you could have done that before all this went down. He's playing horrible basketball.
It's really a hard thing to watch too. I know I say it all the time, but it is terrible to watch.
And if you want to buy low on LaMelo, do it. But I mean, you're playing with fire, and I don't know where I wrote it. I don't know if I wrote it for my Wired column yesterday or if it was in the ESPN thing. But I don't think you want LaMelo Ball on your fantasy team. Like, you will sleep better at night, and your team will play better if he's not on your team.
Your other fantasy players will play better because they don't have to deal with that. I love it. Top 30 to 50 on the season for LaMelo Ball. Your point on 38.5% field goal shooting is well noted. 3.7 turnovers. The other numbers are there. You know, if you don't care about field goal percentage in a head-to-head setting, and maybe you think that this can work itself out at some point by the end of the season, I mean, you're talking about an impact player that, you know, subtract this field goal equation out of the situation. You're talking about a top 10 to 20 guy. I think it's a really fascinating thing. Like, I'm with you, Doc. Like, I think this is all going south. I think it's got danger written all over it. If it's in Charlotte, you deal with the fact that they're probably not caring about the end of the season, and they're probably sick of him. And if he's traded somewhere, which I don't know how this works, and the CBA is so tough with the high dollar trades. It's and maybe this is why it all, he got frustrated. He gave the trade demand request, or however that happened, and then this gets reported, and then everybody knows there's no market, and then he can safely say, "Oh, this is a clown report," and play that little 12-year-old game. I would throw a top 75 offer out, though. I think it's worth it if your team's stacked as well. Like, if you got ammo to spare, and you can take a shot in the dark here at this. The news is as bad on him as it's probably ever been. And yet at the same time, he's played 9 of 15 games. So it's not as bad as it's been in the past. So I'll take the contrarian point of view. I don't want to put up with it. And I would be probably sending that trade, hoping it gets declined, so I don't have to deal with it. But that is the way that you work with the distressed assets, in my opinion. Let's go to Sacramento. So Sabonis is out, and there's all sorts of ramifications. And I think I'll personally just talk about that later in the show, so we don't get caught up on the Kings here, as can be the case. Who do you like? Are you going for any of the beneficiaries in the wake of the Domantas Sabonis injury?
I'm not running to the waiver wire or going crazy. Like, there's no clear winner, I don't think. I think it's some combination of Precious Achiuwa, Drew Eubanks, and Maxime Reynaud, and maybe a little Keegan Murray mixed in there for good measure. But I don't know that any of those four are going to be like must-add players.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I think the Drew Eubanks stuff I like to have fun with, because there was a point in time when he was a top 100 player and he had some athleticism and he was kind of positioned to do some things, and then he slowly faded out in Phoenix, and then on to the different stops where he didn't do anything. And now here in Sacramento, not really cracking the top 200. 9 points last night, 1 triple, 4 of 6 shooting, 5 boards, 1 steal, 1 block. It's actually pretty good. Pretty good outcome considering the low expectations we have. Low numbers on the season, low numbers in the last 2 games with Sabonis out, and just 24 minutes, basically the same exact stats, 2.5 combined cash counting stats. I do think there is some chance that maybe they decide to put him in a Sabonis role, knowing he's not Sabonis, of course, but like trying to get some passing out of the center position. This team is so guard centric, and you'd have to be a complete moron to put this team together. But the Eubanks can provide some sort of a balance with that. And then the flip side is Maxime Reynaud. He is the guy everybody wants to play. I don't know if he can stand the rigors of an NBA game. Like, defensively, he just might get tore up. And I don't know if they care or not in Sacramento about that. He had 12 points, 3 boards, 1 assist, 1 block in last night's game, 21 minutes. I'm not making the ad of Reynaud unless I'm in a very deep league, like 200 more players, at least like 250, 300 players. Eubanks, I think he's not a must add. I think he's a speculative ad at best, and I would leave it at that. And I don't know if you have any scorching Darius Garland takes, but would you like to get into our must add players of the night?
Yes.
I love it. All right. This is our top 4 must-add players of the night. Oh, it's not. It's Dr. A's, my guys. I'll get used to the new format. I promise you guys. Yeah, I see that face, Doc. I see that face. Let's get to your guys. What's up? What's up? Let's see that face again.
Can I recreate the face?
Yeah. That disappointed dad face. Like,
no, that was
schmuck.
I wasn't disappointed.
Get the segments right.
All right. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Man, I've been saying that he was going to pop when with Trey out, and it took a while, but I think we're there. went off last night. 38 points, hit 13 at 17 shots. He had 8 out of 10 3-pointers. He had 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks to go along with 38 points. That was awesome. And until Trae Young comes back, we're going to see more of that. So hopefully you had NAW on your team. And then the other guy, I called this yesterday. I said Ryan Rollins is going to go off tonight. And then you're going to trade him before KPJ comes back. And Ryan Rollins went off for 32 points, 6 board, 14 dimes. Big game. He was playing against Tyrese Maxey, who Brew's going to talk about in a minute. And that was a fun one, man. Those 2 guards were going at it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. As far as Maxey, what a night. 54 points, 6 triples, 5 boards, 9 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. This is just bonkers stuff out of Tyrese Maxey. And it doesn't feel fake or anything. He's the number 3 or 4 fantasy play, depending on 8 or 9 cap formats. And I'm not betting against the guy. I know we went into the season pretty fadey on Maxey. I think that my ranks weren't that low for Maxey, but like I had the same reservations that you had and that Rick had and everybody else had, is that, you know, maybe this doesn't work out in Philly and he ends up having a shorter season as a result of it. But none of that has happened. And he is so fast and so good off the dribble. You can't cover the guy. And he's playing next to other athletic players. And I just don't think this is going to stop. And if they stay even remotely competitive, I think he's going to try to be healthy all season. My fear is that they just kind of go to him too much right now. And maybe he takes on too much wear and tear as a result of it. But it is all systems go. Doc, if you have any Maxey wisdom, please feel free to impart upon it. But who is your other guy of the night?
Well, it was Ryan Rollins. I already went there with him. He was playing against Maxey. Had that huge line, 32, 6, and 14. If I have Ryan Rollins on my roster, I'm not going to be getting done with this podcast and just start sending out trade offers. But it's time to start thinking about what's going to happen when Kevin Porter Jr. comes back. And part of that goes into, can Ryan Rollins do more than he just did? Is his trade value at peak that it will be this season? And I feel like it is. I feel like this is the high water mark on Ryan Rollins.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And we will see. We will see pretty soon here how this all comes together. It's going to happen pretty quickly, too. You'll have Giannis and Kevin Porter Jr. arrive within a same couple of weeks, if not sooner, in a tighter time frame. So it will happen quick. Heed the doc's advice. My guy of the night is John Collins. And I don't say this proudly. He's just schlepping along, 25 minutes, 9 points, 4 boards, 1 steal, 1 block in a blowout loss to the Magic. He's still hanging around the bottom of the top 200. I think where I'm at is I would be willing to cut John Collins last night if it wasn't such a weird blowout game for the Clippers. And one has to wonder, is all the offseason stuff with Kawhi and everything else going on just adjacent to that franchise, is it wearing on them? Are they playing poorly because of this, or is this just garden variety suckage? And maybe this is the dip before the Clippers get back on track and, you know, make the big fight back up toward 500. But I thought they would come out playing gangbusters last night, and they came out with a dud. So that kind of tells you in a game like that, where it really does matter that you get going the other direction, they decided not to show up in this game. So what's happening with that? I'll take Collins for one more game, and then I'll probably be fine issuing the drop. And I don't know where you're at with that, but that's where I'm at with that.
I mean, if he's not doing anything, like that line you read was not that impressive. And if he's not doing things with Kawhi Leonard not in there, and man, the Clippers suck. They're 4-11. I thought they were going to be good this year. Like that on paper, man, they have got a killer lineup. And I don't know what's going on. They're not good. They're 1-9 in the last 10 games.
Yeah, it's brutal, and that's why it makes it a little hard to drop right now. This is not normal. They're not playing baseline, and Kawhi's gone, and how you want to figure that out in relation to John Collins is totally an open question. For Collins' part, his free throws are down, his free throw percentage is down, his defense is down. The percentages are down in general, but like mainly he's not getting to the free throw line, he's not getting a rhythm there. And defensive, I wonder if playing with Zubac has killed his rebounding and killed his defensive stats because of the significant drop coverage that they have to play with so-called defensive stud Ivica Zubac. That there's no opportunities for those things for John Collins because of the way that Zubac has to play defense. And so maybe that is what's going on, but it's a little too early to pin it on anything. We'll see. But one more game like this, and I'm probably going to issue the drop. Let's get to our top 4 must-add players from last night. Doc, kick us off.
I'm going to go with Santi Aldama. I haven't really paid much attention to Aldama this year. In the past, he's always been one of my sleepers that I liked messing with. But I'm just so turned off by Memphis that I haven't been paying that much attention. But man, he's at 15 points, 6 boards, 0.7 steals, 0.7 blocks, and almost 2 threes a game in November. And he's just a solid player. I think he had 21 last night. He's been in double digits every game in November. And Jaren Jackson Jr. seems to be on the ropes with injuries. So I think Aldama should be rostered probably more than he is.
Yeah, I kind of viewed him as the maybe one of the pieces of grease for the wheel of Thomas Isalo's wheel offense. Like you need to be able to move and do multiple things. He does a little bit of everything, and Santi Aldama, has shown in the past that he could be that guy. And even in the preseason, looked like he was ready to step forward. They paid the guy. It's been about a top 115 to 125 run for him so far this season. And he's basically working with last year's stats. The number that's down is the free throw, and it's down by about 10% on nearly double the volume. So you're seeing him more impactful in the free throw game in a bad way. And so if everything holds the same for this guy, I think you're looking at inside the top 100 value at his current, 28, 27 minutes per game. And if he happens to get 30, you're looking at a possible top 75 or maybe even a tiny bit better player who's in a place where there's nobody playing. So Santi Aldama looks great. My must-add player of the night, I had to pick a Spur, so I picked good old-fashioned Julian Champagnie, 20 points, 5 triples, 4 boards, 5 assists, 1 block. I could have just as easily picked some of his teammates. Keldon Johnson went off, 25 points, 3 triples, 7 boards, a little bit more after that. Also, Devin Vassell with a classic Vassell line, 15 points, 3 triples, 5 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. My guy, Harry B, 16 points, 2 triples, 5 boards, 2 assists, no defensive stats, making him the least valuable of the 4 Spurs that now have a runway for 2 to 3 weeks here, however long Victor Wembanyama is out. Doc, do you have a favorite amongst those?
I mean, I think I trust Harry Barnes the most out of those 4. I know he didn't do it last night, but just overall, I feel like he's going to be the most consistent player night in and night out. Whereas one night Champagnie's going to go off like he did last night, and the next night he's going to disappear. And I think Keldon Johnson is reliable for like points and boards, but there's not going to be much defense from him. So, but I think just from a trust factor, I trust Harry the most.
Yeah, and I'm getting asked why would I go with Justin over or Julian, pardon me, over the rest of them. And the answer is I wouldn't. I picked Julian because we talked about the other 3 so much that Julian's just been an afterthought, and he really shouldn't be. He's a top 150 guy on the season. We've seen him in the past step up, be a top 100 guy. I think this offense actually, along with De'Aaron Fox, complements all 4 players. and makes all of them really good targets. And we'll talk about a certain Spur later in the show. And I just think that this offense doesn't complement him. But this Julian Champagnie reference, I do think he's probably the third of the three, or probably the four of these players that I would like. And strangely enough, Harry B falls to the bottom of my list now, even though he has the most value on the season. And it's because I will chase the shiny toy. And I think the shiny toy is Devin Vassell. Vassell is going to get a run here to be old Vassell in that top 75 range. And then when you look at Keldon Johnson and what he's doing, I kind of think they know it's Keldon Johnson's season for the next 2 to 3 weeks. They're like, hey, you like to go out and shoot? Well, hey, guess what? We need that right now. So go get your points right now while you can. It might be Keldon Johnson that's the best, but his stat set's not as good as Devin Vassell. So I would rank him Vassell, Johnson, Champagnie, and then my guy, Harry Barnes. But it's hard to pick between all my favorites. So that's it for Spurs.
Vassell's almost 90% rostered. I mean, I don't know why. Like, he's not available. I mean, if you want Devin Vassell, you got to go trade for Devin Vassell. Those other guys are sitting on waiver wires. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Vassell is in his own world, his own level.
I feel like in intermediate and expert leagues, there's a chance he got dropped, depending on how many players play, because it got bad there for a little bit. And you're right, he's not available, I would think, in the vast majority of leagues. So we can chop him out of here, and then I would have Keldon Johnson, because I do think they're just going to give him the ball and get him out and get out of the way. Doc, who's your next must-add player from last night?
I've got Tristan da Silva, Orlando Magic, filling in sort of for Paolo Banchero. He had 17 points, 3 threes, 8 rebounds, no defense. Not all that surprising. He's not exactly a steals and blocks dynamo, but man, he's getting good minutes. He's getting consistent scoring. He's getting some rebounds, and he occasionally chips in with the goodies, even though it doesn't happen every night. But I've enjoyed the Silva run that we've gotten here with no Paolo Banchero.
Yeah, the defensive stuff sort of showed up last night, but I'm overall happy with what he has done, and I think it actually bodes well for his fantasy future as well. My must-add player of the night, not sure how deep I want to go with a must-add recommendation here, but Vince Williams Jr., 4 points, 0 triples. Wait, it gets better. 29% shooting. Hold on, it gets better. 3 turnovers. Okay, I think we're there. 5 boards, 15 assists, 2 steals. Okay, we can work with this. I don't know what they're doing with Vince Williams Jr., making him into an extraordinary pass first point guard, but I'm here to watch it, and I would love for it to work out. And we do have players coming back soon, so there's a lot of not great circumstances here for Vince Williams Jr. But in the short term, if they're going to be out there practicing Vince Williams Jr. at point guard, why not go out and get some assists for your squad? We've seen 2 straight games with this. I got nothing beyond that. I can't tell you to go drop a player of value to go get Vince Williams. We got Ty Jerome making his return here fairly soon, hopefully. At some point in time, John Morant might want to play basketball. So this window is really short here, but at least it's fun. It's interesting. It's different. Vince Williams Jr., everybody. Doc, you got anything on that?
I mean, he was next on my list too. So that I don't care about all the bad stuff. The fact he had 15 assists, like, that's a big number, man, for Vince Williams. And we saw Vince Williams a couple years ago kind of blow up and get super hot. And he can play. So, I've got a couple deep leagues I'm in where I've got no name bad players that I can just drop and pick somebody up. And if Vince is sitting out there in a deep league, I'm going to pick him up and see how much juice I can squeeze out of this run. But you're right, man. When Ja comes back, when Ty Jerome comes back, it's going to be rough.
Now you got Scottie Pippen at some point down the road too. Shout out Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 38 points, 8 3-pointers, 4 boards, That's amazing stuff. I just needed to say that for myself. Jock Landale, 21 points against the Kings. Disclaimer, 1 666 boards, nothing else, 90% shooting, 100% on his free throws. Shout out Jock Landale. I don't think it's going to be a measurement game against the Kings. That was all done in 15 minutes. Anthony Black, 12 points, 1 4 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals in 29 minutes, still just at a top 150 level any way you slice it. So I don't know that he's up and over the cut line, but I'll take that game and give it a shout out. Bobby Portis, 19 points, 8 boards, 1 steal, 1 triple. Hard to get excited about that in a game without Giannis and a team that's super light. Doc, let's get into our drop zone here. Who are your top drops from last night?
Well, I predicted, again, a big game from Luke Cornett. And what did we get? We got, when this was against Atlanta, dude, Atlanta historically just gives it up. That's who Lucas scored his 74 or whatever that was against. Luke Cornett torched the Atlanta Hawks for 5 points on 4 shots, missed the free throw, had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, no steals, no blocks. The thing that makes me mad about this is Luke Cornett is better than this. Like, he's just been really bad for 2 games, but we know he's better than this, right? It wasn't that long ago. He went for 13 and 11 with 3 blocks. That was Sunday. And he wasn't even starting at that point. Well, yeah, he probably was. And then a couple games before that, he was 6 of 6. A bunch of cool stats. These are 2 really bad games. He's now scored 5 points and hit 2 shots in 2 total games. I can't have dead weight on my team. Now, you know that as soon as we all go out and cut Luke Cornett, he's going to go off. But
those are the breaks.
Fool me once, game on, you know the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, and honestly, I really wonder if this guard-centric, 4-guard offense sometimes is just kind of killing Luke Cornett. Whereas when he plays with Wemby is flipping him easy passes for, 8 of 8 marks from the field. And that's just pushing his value right up the board. I'll flip the script and I'm going to actually go Zach Reese-Shea on the other side of that court. No stats really in 21 minutes. He's hurt, so I can kind of qualify it with that. I mentioned him as a possible streamer last night. I feel kind of terrible about it because it wasn't just him. It was another player I'll talk about here. But I think right now with the injury and this weirdness with his production, I think you guys can move on for a little bit and just know that there is a potential top 100 player in there somewhere. And maybe we will find out later on this season if it's Zachary Reese-Shea or not. But unless you have any Zach Reese-Shea comments, Doc, who's your next drop zone guy?
Reese-Shea only hit 1 of 10 shots. He missed all 5 of his 3-pointers. And while that was happening, Kristaps Porzingis could not miss. Nickeil Alexander-Walker could not miss. Jalen Johnson hit 10 of 15 shots. So it's a weird night. The Hawks probably might have won that game. Everybody shot it well for the Hawks except for Reese-Shea. It's kind of weird. It's a weird box score, and he sticks out like a sore thumb because everybody else on the Hawks made shots and played well. My next cut is Vit Krejci. He's also in the Atlanta Hawks. He had 2 of 3 shots, had 1 3, scored 5 points. He did have a steal, but he really didn't do anything else. There was a time recently when I was fired up about Krejci, and he kind of went off for like 3 games in a row, hit a bunch of threes. Everything was working for him. That is no longer the case. Yeah, he scored 17, 28, 11, and 20. That was a good run, and he was just banging so many threes. Well, his last 3 games have been 7, 9, and 5 points. So he's just sort of fallen out of the mix again, as he's apt to do. And he'll get hot again this season. But if you picked up Vit Krejci for the run, it's time to move on.
Let's spin it to a former Hawk and my other sad trombone sound from last night. Bogdan Bogdanović, 21 minutes, 6 points, 2 threes, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 22% from the field. It had to happen at some point, and it happens in a blowout loss to the Magic. I don't got much more beyond that. Bogdan needs to play pretty well in his production curve. He needs to be pretty good every night to stay as a late round value and to have the fantasy value you need to take on a risk. So that's why he's going to be mentioned in streamer talk quite a bit. But if you thought maybe you were getting something consistent out of Bogdan Bogdanović, you have my blessing to move on, because I don't think the upside is very high. Doc, do you have any honorable mentions for this crew?
Just Gary Trent. I don't. Gary Trent to me is a 3-point specialist and not really much more. I'm just not feeling Gary Trent.
I got a bunch of honorable mentions, and they're all Sacramento Kings. I mentioned at the top, I'd talk about the Kings later. I think if you have Dennis Schroeder, Russell Westbrook, Keegan Murray, or Malik Monk, you're kind of like, what in the world is going on?
What the
heck? Well, I'm trying to not to swear, but I'd like to swear on behalf of anybody who has one of these players. It's annoying. It's ridiculous. Like, Dennis Schroeder plays well in Eurobasket, plays well for the Pistons, plays well the last 2 to 3 years, shows up in Sacramento, and it just can't make a shot, and he doesn't know if he's playing, and he hates it. Russell Westbrook, dependent upon the night, might be good or not. Keegan Murray just returning to an 11.3 rebound, 1 triple, 1 assist. No defensive stat night. Hard to get on him when he's wearing a brace on his hand, and it's his first game. He hasn't even had a shoot around with his team. So if you're wondering about Keegan Murray, didn't even do a shoot around before playing in this game. And you got Malik Monk, 14 minutes, practically no numbers. The Kings don't want him. Monk plays as well as anybody else on this team, and at the same time can't get any minutes and is in this wash. Like, I don't think you drop Westbrook. I don't think you drop Schroeder. I hate to say it, as bad as he's been. Like, I don't think you drop Schroeder. I mean, they paid for the guy, and then they probably kind of sort of want him there. I don't think you drop Malik Monk, because just last season he was rocking at a top 50 level, and it's really hard. I've actually done that. I've dropped Malik Monk and watched that happen after the fact, and it's a painful experience. This team is going to have some sort of reckoning, and I just don't know when it's going to be. The sad part is that it feels like it could be an all season long reckoning where they just suck every single night, but they don't know it, and they're like unintentionally tanking, and it's maybe a different guy. And I don't know if they can trade anybody for anything. And DeMar DeRozan was also, could have been on this list, but all of these guys kind of have to be held until we see maybe a week or two. If it continues for a week or two, the Schroeders and the Monks and the Murrays, and probably not Russell Westbrook, because he might be the last guy to survive, as is often the case. Just a mess there. Let's get into
real quick on Schroeder. I mean, this Schroeder is weird. His November numbers, he went 24 points, 18 points, 18 points. You're like, I'm good. I've got Dennis Schroeder on my team. We're going to roll. And after he went on that 3-game tear, he went 2 points, 3 points, 0 points. And you're like, oh my God, Schroeder's terrible. I need to cut him. And then as soon as that happened, he went 9, 14, 22, and 21. And I was like, Schroeder's back, baby. I'm good. What could go wrong? And then last night he missed all 8 of his shots and scored 3 points.
I blame Zach LaVine.
And now are we back to this is going to be another Schroeder 4-game slide of just garbage. And then you're going to cut him. And then is he going to get hot again? I mean, I don't know. It's just,
and the one thing that could have made them
a roller coaster.
The one thing that could have made them like maybe a little bit more consistent is just running the offense through Domantas Sabonis and just being a well-adjusted basketball team. But now he's hurt. it's just going to be a chucker fest. And Doug Christie's he's gonna smell so many smelling salts. He's gonna fall over on the sideline. You're gonna have a fan puking at the game any night now.
Do they only have 3 wins this season? Man,
I think so. But seriously, though, there was a fan that puked on the court a couple years back, and they should bring him back as the team mascot. All right, let's get to our top 10 streamers of the night. Doc, kick us off. Who's your top streamer of the night?
That is good stuff. The Kings have won 3 games. They're 3-13. The Pelicans are the only worst team in the West, 2-13.
Get your
streamers. I got Najee Marshall as a hot streamer right now. Somebody's got to score for that Dallas team, and I think it might end up being Najee Marshall. Dallas is 4-12. Remember when Nico traded for Anthony Davis?
Who?
Because he wanted to win now.
What?
Yeah, it's true. They want to win now. Now AD sits on the bench in street clothes, sulking, adding legend and lore to his nickname, street clothes. Man, I don't know. What a disaster Dallas is. Let's look at Najee Marshall's numbers. Najee is a scorer, and I don't know that he'll do much besides score, but at least I think we know he's going to do that. He had 23 points, 5 boards, 1 assist, and 3 threes in his last game. Last Friday, 28 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 threes. And then sandwiched in the middle of that was pure trash. 7 points, 9 points. Not much else. But I feel like Marshall is going to be hot until this team figures out what they're doing with Anthony Davis. So I kind of like riding Marshall right now and see what happens.
Yeah, and if I wasn't such a terrible show host, I would have mentioned that there are teams playing Friday, Saturday here that we want to kind of focus on. Charlotte, Dallas, Denver, Washington, New Orleans. Teams playing Friday and Sunday. Toronto, Oklahoma City, Cleveland, Miami, Phoenix, Boston, Utah, Portland, Brooklyn. So replay that on whatever you're listening to this show on. Write them down and kind of see where you want to land on some of this stuff. I think Najee Marshall is a really solid stream. Like, I'm sure people are onto it. You might have a little competition there to get him. He might already be gone, in other words. But there's been enough ambiguity to where people might look at some averages and say, it's not for me, or maybe there's not enough value here. But that top 75 run from last season was seared into my brain, and I can't get rid of it. So I really do like that call right there. I'm going to go to the Bulls, and I'm going to go for the combo of Ayo Dosunmu and Kevin Huerter. And if I had to pick one, I probably, because I'm always looking for upside, would probably take Kevin Huerter, though I believe in Ayo Dosunmu as a player. I think Dosunmu could possibly be the upside guy in this equation. So maybe you split the difference of all of what I just said and go with Ayo, because I'm hedging on myself here. But Huerter was terrible in the last one. And maybe these other guys that have been injured are either slow or don't play. You know, Kobe White is, iffy until he's playing every night. And so maybe there's just one more run for these guys. And they've been great, all season long, Huerter especially. So I like them, especially taking into account that you can get the Friday, Saturday back-to-back and then ditch them and get somebody Sunday. Doc, who do you like as your next streamer of the night?
I'm surprised you like Huerter over Ayo. I feel like Ayo's just been rocking lately. I'm
a big Ayo guy. Yeah.
6 games in a row, double figures. Nice assists. He hadn't had a steal in his last 3 games, so he hits threes every night. I'm an Ayo guy. I'm going to go Ayo over Huerter if given that choice.
And I want to say quickly before you say your next player, I think Ayo has more like long-term, like 1 or 2 more gears that he can get to. Just as a basketball player, he's got the physicality. I think he's got the mind, the work ethic. I think he can climb up a couple more levels. But what were you going to say, sir?
No, I was just going to give you my next guy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have trust issues with Kevin Huerter, man. I just know that when I pick him up and put him in my lineup, he's going to have one of those 2 for 11 duds. Number 2 on my list, and maybe should have been number 1, Derek Queen. We can't stop talking about this guy. We talk about him every day. He's just balling, man. And as long as Zion Williams is gone, I think Derek Queen's gonna ball. He had 30 points, 9 boards, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 4 assists, a 3 in his last game against Denver. Before that, he'd scored 9 points in 3 straight games. Nothing great about that, but he did have 7, 8, and 10 boards and a bunch of assists and blocks in those games. So even when he has an off night, he's still producing. I think that is the key, man. If you can have a bad shooting night or a bad offensive night and you're still doing enough to help fantasy teams, I mean, that's all I need to hear. So I'm feeling Derek Queen. I haven't even looked to see who they play tonight.
They're playing your guys, your favorite basketball team, the Dallas Mavericks, and Zion is in as of right now.
They're playing Dallas. Yeah, well, that'll be interesting to see what Queen does if Zion plays. That's a good litmus test.
Yes, and kind of almost going to be full strength here, this squad. You got Jordan Poole maybe coming back soon. So it'll be a little interesting. They've been a good streamer squad. Derek Queen's been a part of that glut of possible streamers that, didn't quite make it up over the hump in the early part of the year. Then Queen's just been poppy lately. And I don't know if I like Derek Queen or not. It's going to be that way all season. Now I'm gonna sit down and watch some Derek Queen film and really get down to the bottom of whether or not Nikola Jokic gave him his powers. And we're dealing with the next Nikola Jokic. I didn't say that out loud. That's not something I would say. That's not right. That's not even close to right. Let's see. My number 4 streamer of the night for us is going to be none other than Josh Minott, which it's kind of sad. He's now talked about as a streamer. Been terrible. It's Brooklyn tonight. I mean, they got to get Josh Minott going at home against Brooklyn, right? Question mark?
You would think.
It's a real simple play. It's if he's been dropped, which is very, very much a viable thing. You're trying to get that upside in a good matchup against the Brooklyn Nets. I actually really like this play a lot. We'll see if it works out or not, but I do like myself some Josh Minott. Feel free to comment, Doc, and or give your next streamer.
I just don't trust Josh Minott. Like when he's bad, it's really bad. And I know he's a good player. I know that there's upside there, but I feel like we're a year too early. If there was a time to roll the dice on Josh Minott, it's at home against Brooklyn, right? Like if it doesn't happen tonight, I'm done. I'm completely out. And I don't have enough guts to put Minott in a FanDuel lineup or stream him somewhere. I don't, but I admire your courage, Brew. And the logic is there. Like, this is the right game to do it. So hopefully he goes off. That would be nice.
Before you get, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah, well, I want to just I will take this time. The Joe Mazzulla thing is super interesting because he's got all sorts of coaching currency to whip around, like, championship with the Celtics, and then this is a gap year, and so he's doing these line changes and he's yanking everybody all the time. He's yanking Jaylen Brown. It's like he's got this okay from everybody involved to play this yank everybody around card, and he's also kind of wacky enough, I think, to stick with this for longer than a coach might stick with it for. And that all points to trouble for Josh Minott. And it's just sitting there, and it's going to be a thing until it's not. It's one of these things that it's almost impossible to predict unless you are in Boston and you got sources on the ground and you can kind of just, okay, hey, they're going to let Josh Minott have the role now. And you kind of get some murmurs of that before it happens. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, we're all in the dark here, and it will happen in like a 1 to 2 game stretch people will add Josh Minot, and then we will be kind of playing lottery at that point. So that's a little bit of background there on Josh Minot. Who's your next streamer here, Doc?
I'm taking a stretch here and saying Tristan Vukcevic, the Washington Wizards third center, maybe. This comes with a caveat. If Alex Sarr does not play, then I think I'm going to roll with Vuk. Marvin Bagley, who somehow is relevant on this team, is doubtful tonight. And I think Sarr might be he's iffy. Sarr is iffy. I think Bagley's doubtful. That brings Vukcevic into play. And last year, Vukcevic had a few good games, enough so that it gained our attention, and we were messing with him in and out of lineups and on and off of rosters. And I think in the end, it didn't really pan out just because he didn't get enough run. But I do like Vukcevic, and I might have to throw him in a FanDuel lineup tonight if Sarr's not going to play.
I got so many nice things to say about Tristan Vukcevic. It's been a little sad watching him average 7 minutes a game this season. But yeah, if all those things are true, I'm a total Tristan Vukcevic guy. So I will co-opt that advice. And for my sixth streamer of the night, I will take Moussa Diabate, and been talking about him for a while, pretty much all season. I really think that while Kalkbrenner's had the big fantasy explosion and he is sort of locked in for fantasy value, this is like an outright win for Ryan Kalkbrenner. I really do think that Diabate's got a compelling argument in the two-man race there at center. And one's the draft pick, and you got to develop that. And it makes sense that Diabate comes off the bench and plays the lower minute total, but he's been a late round value all season long. Athletically, he's there. I think he's compelling. I think this fits this squad. So why not go ahead and get in on a late round value when you can? And so I will take that as he plays over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So if you want to try to sneak a streamer in before, by all means, feel free. But when you get to Saturday, Sunday, check out Moussa Diabate. Doc, you got any other streamers that you would like to talk about?
Some Friday, Sunday guys that I think are worth pickups. Royce O'Neal, Ace Bailey, and your guy Colin Gillespie, who you would argue that he should not be picked up off waivers because he can't be on waivers. He has to be on a roster. Believe it or not, Brew, there's some leagues out there where Colin Gillespie is on the waiver wire.
That was so artfully done.
Shocking.
This is the way that you walked on eggshells around me was so great.
I'm terrified.
Oh, I love it. I think your guy Brandon Williams is due for a game. So I think that's tonight something to take a look at. Trey, I'm going to kind of focus on some guys that probably won't be available, or probably will be available, that have been bad. Trey Johnson, I think, is due, and I'm always looking for the pivot in Washington. Like, aside from losing so many games, I thought they'd win more games than this. I feel like change is in the air. They just got to stop playing the vets. But even then, I don't know that solves their issues. Trey Johnson, worth a look. Friday, Saturday, back to back. So I like that. The Friday, Sunday guys, I like Craig Porter a little bit. You know, for you deep league GMs out there who the obvious names aren't popping up. They're big banged up as usual in Cleveland. When he's been getting in, he's been producing. It's been fun. I mean, we're talking like 175, 200 player leagues. Craig Porter, and you mentioned him at the top, Tristan Da Silva. If he's not available, I think he's a pretty priority streamer on Saturday and Sunday. Let's get to what we're watching for, Doc. What are you watching for tonight and this weekend?
I really am intrigued by this Heat at the Bulls game. The Bulls are -2, -112 on FanDuel. I like the Bulls in this game. They're at home, and Kobe White is back, and they're kind of balling. And then the Rockets play the Nuggets, and I can't wait to watch Nikola Jokic go up against Alpi Şengün. Like, Şengün has been a monster this year. Like, he has been he is who we thought he was going to be 3 years ago, which pretty cool to see. I got out of the Şengün game maybe a year too early, but I think Şengün versus Joker is going to be awesome to watch. And then I'm also very interested to see what Peyton does with dang, why can't I think of anyone's name right now? Who's the dunker in Denver? Just came back, Aaron Gordon. I am interested to see if Peyton Watson can do anything with Aaron Gordon back. So those are two games that should be fun tonight.
Yeah, I thought I was a little ahead on Alpi Şengün in fantasy ranks. Right now, he's a top 20 to 25 player. And I found out that in my high stakes leagues, there were people who were wild for Alperen Şengün, going first round, early second round. And I just tipped my cap to them and said, good day. I'm not going to be paying that much. You're kind of right.
Someone took him in the first round in a 12-team league.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. Like, and back the front end of the second round. I'm pretty sure I saw first round in there. Yeah. It was crazy.
Dang,
and it's like,
that is crazy.
And well-respected, opponent that, constantly winning. So I was like, hey, maybe he's on to something, but he's been in the ballpark of where I had him ranked, a little bit better. And as far as Şengün goes, what I really want to see is our team's going to start playing size off the floor. Like, there's this thing in the NBA right now. Everybody's trying to put size on the floor, and that's cool. But like, why not throw a guard at that and have them get layups against that size? And I don't think I've seen that out of a team playing Houston yet. And also, you do have problems in that respect. Is you have a guy named Amen Thompson out there who can lock a lot of people up. So a good situation for Şengün, and this is a great matchup. And I do think that Jokic is probably going to come into this one with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, since the comparisons and all of that. So we'll be watching that. I'll be watching Indiana at Cleveland. I want to see what's up with the Pacers. I want to see if Jay Huff can do it again. I'm constantly looking for that pivot point. Is Indiana going to be good? Can they be a decent basketball team anytime soon? And can we get players inside the top 100? And can Jay Huff do it again? It's a terrible matchup. It's a tough team. But if he turns a corner here, hey, we might be on to something. But other than that, it's a 9-game night with lots of players that I'm going to be watching, but those are the big ones. And let's get into our it's going to be a dual segment. It's going to be hold or drop, add or pass. Let's start with add or pass. Right now, are you adding Ty Jerome today?
Yeah, I've got him on a couple of IR spots. I was actually using the last pick in my drafts to either get DeJounte Murray if he was available, or Ty Jerome, and just throw him in the injured spot and leave him there. So I don't know when he's coming back. I haven't heard much about him since he's been gone, but I like Ty Jerome, so I'm going to add.
Most recent reports, the reevaluation and the news on his timetable is coming pretty soon. So with that in mind, the news could be he's coming back tomorrow or he's coming back 2 weeks from now. Would you drop a active body to have Ty Jerome?
If it was an active body that I was looking at, if I got to cut this guy, he's hurting my team, I got to find a guy to pick up. If Ty Jerome was sitting there, yes, I would do that. I would not cut somebody who's producing right now for Ty Jerome.
Yeah, I would be pretty aggressive. I play in some a lot of roto formats where Ty Jerome stands out and he's going to be good, and so I'd be pretty aggressive. I would drop a top, maybe even 100, but definitely a top 125 guy to make sure I have Ty Jerome on my roster. What about Brandon Williams? He's one of your guys. Would you add Brandon Williams right now and drop somebody of value, say like a top 125, 100 kind of a player that's doing something for your squad right now?
I want to add Brandon Williams. I don't know that I would cut somebody good to get him. this is a big game tonight for Brandon Williams, I feel like, because if it doesn't go well, we could be getting D'Angelo Russell, who's put up better numbers than Williams has off the bench. So I would add Williams. I would not drop somebody good to get Williams. Same with Ty Jerome.
Yeah, Brandon Williams is he's got some issues right now with the consistency. I have questions about which direction this Dallas team wants to go, and if D'Angelo Russell is one of Anthony Davis's guys, and if there's some backroom politics going on there. But what about Isaiah Jackson? We just talked about Jay Huff. Anything for Isaiah? Nothing? Nada?
No, I'm not messing with him. I think Jay Huff's better. Hopefully that Jay Huff breakout game on Wednesday carries over to Friday. And hopefully Isaiah Jackson gets squeezed out of this thing.
That would be nice. And I hate rooting against my old B150 favorite. Let's get into drop or hold. We got a couple interesting names here. We got Jalen Green right off the top. Jalen Green, it really sucks to have drafted Jalen Green. Like, you think you're getting something and then you just get nothing. Where are you at? Drop or hold Jalen Green?
I mean, if I've got room on my bench or my IR to hold on, I'm holding on. But I don't like it, man. I don't like the uncertainty. I don't know when he's coming back. I don't know if he's going to come back and be exactly the same as he was. I mean, the whole thing just sucks. So hold him if you can, but if you need to let go, you got to let go.
Yeah, he's definitely in luxury stash territory. If you need that body, I think the part of it that's the worst is while we could maybe get a good news report, like maybe he's in a 4-week timetable with this particular issue, just looking at him and the fact that it was a re-injury of this soft tissue muscle, like when I saw it, I thought 2 months. Was just my kind of run-of-the-mill knee-jerk reaction to what I saw. And then you saw timetables that were kind of in the 4 to 6 week range. But I think that's 4 to 6 weeks for another evaluation. And then we start to see getting back on speed, getting up to 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 5-on-5, all the different steps. So with that, you're really looking at, 2025 or 2026. And that's not great math when it comes to a hold. So it's definitely a luxury stash for me. We got some breaking news here. Tyler Hero appearing to be targeting Monday versus the Mavs for a return. So we will get the next week of Tyler Hero started on Monday. But let's get back to drop or hold. Tari Eason, drop or hold?
I'm not a Tari Eason guy. He's hurt too much for me. That roster is so talented. I don't know how he's going to blow up in it. I didn't understand why everybody was so high on Eason coming in. I was not. So I'm. I want to hold him. I'm not just going to go drop him just to drop him. But if I had to drop Tari Eason, I think I would.
Yeah, I'm way less bullish. I don't know if that's the right term. But Tari, we're talking about holding a guy that's going to come back and not be able to play back-to-backs. We're talking about a guy that's going to be possibly re-injured really, really quick. Tari Eason, when he's good, is a top, say, 75 guy. Top 50 is a little too much. It's hard to put him there as just that's what he does. It's, who he is. I think he's more of a top 75 guy. He was a top 125 guy this season, so it wasn't really coming together despite actually being an active part of the game plan. So a little bit of problem there in general. So I would be dropping Tari Eason for pretty much anything right now. Let's go to Khalil Ware. We talk about him sometimes. You may or may not have some Khalil Ware on your squads.
Drop or hold Khalil Ware. Played 18 minutes here, and I had a ton of rebounds. He's gone through minute lows this season already. I'm holding Khalil Ware. I'm not even thinking about dropping Khalil Ware.
And I'm with you on that. And Christian Brown is the last name on this list. Any love for Christian Brown?
No, I haven't thought about him one time this season.
I love it. I love it. He had a great fantasy season last year. He shot really, really well. He's not shooting well this season, and he's out for a while. Not enough meat to the bone. Christian Brown to the boneyard. That's going to do it for today's show. Big shout out to Andre Lemouche for keeping us on track. Doc, great job as usual. Check out the box score breakdown, I believe, tonight. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Andre. On that one, we have the week ahead tomorrow. So make sure you tune in, get locked into all the different platforms over at YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the thumbs up button. And on Twitter/X, you want to follow us at Ethos Fantasy NBA. Get the free app from the website, or actually from the App Store and the Google Play Store. But you can get to the website, get that information on our Discord server. Check out a membership. You get the B150 projections in all of the tools. You get all of the cheat sheet from our great squad of writers. It's more content and high-level content, real content that than you can get anywhere else. So check out a membership at sportsethos.com. That's going to do it for today's show. This has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel. See you guys tomorrow.